My name is Z. My stage name is Z Music.
My name is Simba Mac, or Simba Makoni as my mom likes to call me. I'm a lawyer by day, rapper by night, and I love music, I love culture, I love people, and I love what I do.
My name is Sherry Rose. I am currently a student at La Trobe University. I'm studying a Bachelor of International Relations.
My name is Pasika, born in Australia, South African roots. I'm an R&B artist.
My name is Amana Nyikang. I grew up in Australia, but I am originally from South Sudan. I work as a legal assistant for Slater and Gordon Law Firm. I volunteer for my community, the South Sudanese Community Association of Victoria, as the Deputy Youth Secretary of Youth Affairs.
I'm Nawal. I'm 18 years old. I'm a student at Deakin University in Burwood. I study Bachelor of Arts. I do a lot of youth events, so I run freezer programs. So we do Battle of the Band. We do a lot of music-based and arts-based. I want to be an actress, so music, acting, dance, all that. Just everything in the arts. Love it.
Well, my name is Amir Rashwan. I'm 17 years of age. I'm into poetry and rap. I'm getting myself into modeling. I'm currently in year 12, and I pursue to become a counsellor because I know a lot of the youths are in need in support and they want to talk with someone that's going to be there for them. So that's something more I'm trying to pursue at the moment.
Hi, my name is Najma. My stage name is Ms. Najma. I'm currently studying fashion at the University of RMIT. Ultimately, my goal is to make a big entrance into the fashion industry once I graduate.
I'm Fatima, and I don't have a stage name. I prefer people to call me Fatima. That's the Somali way of saying my name. And I'm a nurse and also a student.
My name is Bem. I'm from Nigeria, lived there for 20 years, and I got more involved in the African community sometime in 2014. And since then, I've done things with youth, at events, for advocacy, for different reasons.
My name is Infa. My parents named me Infa Dende. I was born in London. That's where my parents met. My mother's Anglo-Saxon. My father's from Sierra Leone, so he's Madingo and Creole background from returned slave ships.
I go by the name Larry Slika, aka Slika One. Born and raised in Zimbabwe, and I've come to Australia in about 2007. And I also make music. Only started as a hobby, but now it's also turning into a career.
My name is Steve Ramitzi. I'm an educationalist, a researcher in political economy, and my passion is equality across all races. I believe in one single human race.
My name is Rafael Mavondo, and I also go by the name Mr. Precise. Also the other things I do, get involved in youth activities and youth work, which is something I started like 3 years ago.
In my own words, I would define cultural diversity as accepting everyone's differences, whether it be race, religion, sexual orientation, and whatever comes in the spectrums of diversity.
I think cultural diversity should be an acknowledgement and appreciation of the different cultures that exist within a social community. In a granular level, it's just like appreciating that somebody comes from a different continent or different country, acknowledging their traditions and their ways, and really just accepting them into your own social community.
To me, cultural diversity is really simple and obvious, and it's multiple cultures and a diverse, beautiful range of them. It's very simple and it works. The problem I face is that I feel like that's what the real war in the world is, to crush cultural diversity and make everybody exactly the same and follow the same one king or whatever. And all the stuff I've been watching, every war I've ever watched, all the nonsense, they'll say it's about this or about something to do with some history or cultural or trade, but it always inevitably becomes about destroying cultural diversity.
I'd say cultural diversity is a sincere attempt at trying to interpret the perspective of the current world we live in, where you have a populace that's no longer represented by a single identity or a single race or a single culture or a single language.
I believe cultural diversity, it's a recognition that all cultures are equal and therefore should coexist without any distinction or relegating others as inferior to others.
Cultural diversity is coming together of different cultural backgrounds and of different ethnic groups. It's like a mixture of everything in one place.
I would say cultural diversity would be kind of what you see in Melbourne, which is a whole bunch of different cultures together, kind of intermingling without intermingling, if you put it in that sense, you know. So in other words, everyone coexisting but not changing. That seems to be cultural diversity. In other words, if they move to Australia, they don't necessarily have to have like a wear flip-flops and get a beer can, you know, so they can come in and just do their thing. I guess that's what cultural diversity is.
Everyone comes from a different place, everyone has different backgrounds, different languages, different religions, different cultural backgrounds, and cultural diversity is the recognition of those differences, but those differences existing in one place.
I do know about race and racism, but those things don't exist in my personal life because there's no race that I'm running here. We're all people. We're all the human race.
See, if you're speaking with a friend about racial issues, you know, it's going to be pretty open because that's your friend. It's not like you're out there speaking to opposition, you know what I mean? So it's always been just an open conversation. It's the person who's not African or not black, they don't really understand nothing about what goes on about being black. So then when you feel frustrated and you might vent to them, that's probably one insight that they might, you know, one little bit of insight they might get into understanding what we might go through.
I find a very unique sort of experience with people because a lot of people, when they hear the term racist or racism, they think of it in a historical sense. So, for example, segregation, or for example, apartheid in South Africa, right? So, black people being the majority, being oppressed by a white minority, purely based on their presentation, their complexion, or the color of their skin. But over time, laws have changed, and people can no longer address people in that kind of manner. So there's almost like a forced acknowledgement that you can't be racist anymore, or at least openly. But unfortunately, what that's done is, because of the historical background in relation to how it came into formation, it's actually found a way to sort of permeate current society. And what you tend to find is you have a more subtle version of racism, which is commonly referred to as societal or structural racism, which pretty much is where you've got a society or community that is prevented from being included in the general advantages or conversations in relation to lifestyle or the way they should live, purely based on their background and where they come from.
And I find that it makes people very uncomfortable, particularly if they don't have the experience of racism. Having someone who is a person of color, black person, black African person, talking to them about race or racial discrimination, it does tend to make them feel quite uncomfortable, I find. But once you get over that, the conversations can actually be quite enriching and can bring a lot of growth. So I am definitely an advocate for engaging in those sometimes difficult and awkward conversations, because I think at the end of the day, they're conversations that need to be had.
So my process of eradicating racism is just by showing love, you know. You can't fight fire with fire, you know. You need some water to cool down the fire.
They forgot about the revolution. They don't want to hear that no more. Thinking anything sweet, but it ain't what they just want.
Harmony Day is very close to my heart. It's a very important day. Historically, Harmony Day originates from the struggles of the people of South Africa against racism. What happened was, on the 21st of March in 1960, black people went out to protest against the law that required them to have identity documents which regulated where they should be and where they shouldn't be. And they went out on a peaceful protest, and in that march, 69 were killed by the South African police. Now, That day is very important historically, and the United Nations recognized the importance of that day by pledging solidarity with the people who were fighting against apartheid in South Africa, and they decided in 1966 to declare that day as the International Day to Combat Racism. And in Australia, 21st of March is marked as Harmony Day. It's the very same day, and in Australia it means the harmonious existence of all cultures that call Australia home. Now that's very important.
One Beat, One Love, what it represents for me and what it means for me is that at the end of the day, we're all human. We all have a heartbeat, we all have red blood flowing through our veins. And we have the same desires in life. The desire to be loved and to love. The desire to be wanted and to be accepted. The desire to live our lives freely.
It's about changing that narrative. One beat, one love. Let's all come together and love ourselves. And if we loved ourselves, I think we would work better together. We would understand each other better. We would be more empathetic towards each other's stories or towards each other's lives.
I see one beat, one love as everything just working together in peace to make a better standard of all things. Love, music, food, laughter. I mean, it's all anybody wants.
One beat, one love, to me, I have an understanding that it's not defined as one thing. I see it as it could be based off your culture, your ethnicity, things that you're into, your social groups. So basically a form of social identity.
It makes me think of like people coming together sort of in harmony, like that one beat, and just being in a place of love and just doing what we love together basically.
One heartbeat, one pulse, we all move together, we all are soulmated, and that we are joining hands, and there's love, just ultimate love, yeah, everywhere.
With me, it's community. One beat, one love, like everyone from different cultural backgrounds, different languages, different everything, all coming together with one beat and feeling the same love.
One beat.
One beat.
One beat.
One love.
One love.
One love.